Welcome back to the series. My name is Miles, I'm your host, and I don't know why I did a thumb thing there. I'm your captain through the turbulent seas of story. If you're new to the series, welcome. This is my series comparing the Last of Us video game to the HBO show. Ding ding! Ding 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 ding!
This is your sea captain talking. If you haven't seen this week's episode, that be episode 3, then you should probably...
Ooh, I spit.
Then you should probably get to watching it, lest you be wanting to have it spoiled.
What a sea captain voice this is.
I'm gonna spoil the episode is what I'm saying. And, there's gore and bad words and stuff, so...
Yeah, anyways. So, if you made it this far, this means that you have watched episode 3. Episodes typically come out on Sunday, and I actually watched it on the following Wednesday, so a little bit of time in between. I had a couple people messaging me in between saying, my man, you're going to have a lot to talk about this week. And pretty much my first thought after watching the episode was, oh no, because there is a lot to talk about. So I can't say that I'll cover everything, but I've come up with a few points that I wanted to illustrate and share. So to get everybody on the same page, I thought we would roll back to what happens in the game for those that haven't played it. After you escape the Capitol building, you are chased into the subways by Fedra. You fight a couple Fedra guys, you sneak your way through the subway tunnel, and eventually you come out to a nice little section where there's lots of water, and you have to find a pallet as Joel's swimming around so that Ellie can jump onto it.
Get on.
Because she can't swim. Help her cross the water, and eventually you come out of the subway. This is where Joel and Ellie have their first heart-to-heart. Now that it's just Joel and Ellie, Joel wants to make it clear that if they're going to do this and be partnered together, she kind of has to follow his 3 rules.
About Tess, I don't even know.
Here's how this thing's gonna play out. You don't bring up Tess. Ever. Matter of fact, we just keep our histories to ourselves. Secondly, don't tell anybody about your condition. They think you're crazy, they'll try to kill you. And lastly, you do what I say when I say it. We clear?
Sure.
Repeat it.
What you say goes.
It's basically the same as what they do in the show, but they've put it in a different place. Once they agree, Joel says that he has a friend in a nearby town that might be able to help them get a car, and if they can get in the car, then they might be able to find Joel's brother Tommy, who used to be a Firefly, and they could maybe bring Ellie to the Fireflies to complete their quest. As we get to the edge of the town, we find this nice little patch of greenery and nature, and Ellie can't help but remark and exclaim about how beautiful and amazing it is.
Man.
What?
Nothing, it's just... I've never seen anything like this, that's all.
You mean the woods?
Yeah. Never walked through the woods. It's kind of cool.
And this is going to be a bit of an ongoing theme here. For Ellie, you have to remember that this is really her first time leaving the QZ. She's only ever heard stories about what the outside world is like and how people used to live. She's very much an excited kid who's starting to see the full world for the first time, both the best and the worst of what's out there. You continue into Lincoln, and it's this quaint little town. Another beautiful vista is presented of where you need to go.
And that smoke, you think that's him?
Sure as hell better be.
Well, let's go check it out then.
And you meet some infected friends. You actually have to go greet them one by one. Now, this is Joel and Ellie's first time together on their own, and as you explore the town, there are definitely moments where their personalities start to come out as they kind of interact with what they find.
Mandatory evacuation. Evacuate to where?
Are you all right?
I'm trying to learn how to whistle.
You don't know how to whistle.
Well, does it sound like I know how to whistle? Man, this is kind of sad.
What is?
All this music that's just sitting here. No one's around to listen to it. I don't know. Doesn't seem right. Hey, look. Gnomes.
Yeah, those are gnomes.
Man, I had an art book filled with these. I always thought they were super cute. Not fairies, though. They creep me out.
All right, man.
Man, must be hard. Just leaving all your stuff behind like that.
That ain't the hard part.
Once you make your way to the end of town, you get your first look at Bill's character. And that is in the form of a wall of metal that's blocking the road with a little chair on top. Bill is the kind of man that is going to show the infected what is up. You can just imagine him sitting on his little sunset chair, laughing as he shoots the infected stuck down below. And if that chair wasn't good enough, there's a second chair nearby with a couple beer cans. To further illustrate Bill's character, we proceed to watch an infected get absolutely blasted.
Jesus!
Bill has placed trip mines all over town.
Stay underneath it, okay? Just keep your head low and you'll be fine.
So we have to take it a little slow and try and avoid them. You pick up a handy new bow.
Let me use that. I'm a pretty good shot with that thing.
How about we just leave this kind of stuff to me?
You get to practice on an infected. And you head across some rooftops towards the church. On your way there, you can check out some of Bill's nice verbiage that he put on the walls, and you pick up some additional loot as you're scavenging. You head through the next door and...
I got you.
Damn it, Bill!
What just happened?
Bill flip turns you upside down. There is a stressful little section where you have to defend Ellie as she tries to get you free. It's getting real dire, the infected are coming at you, and when you meet Bill, he machetes the infected in the head to save our lives.
Get off your ass on your...
So, in a way, we've already learned a lot about Bill's character. He is a survivalist who's careful and prepared and knows how to make it in this world. We fight our way out through the infected to a nearby bar where Joel and Bill start to hash out why Joel and Ellie are here and what they want from Bill disturbing his little world here.
Man, that was close. Thanks for the heroics and all. Ellie. Hey, what are you... Joel?
Bill!
What are you doing?
Bill!
Let me go.
Turn around and get on your knees.
Just calm down a second.
Turn around
All right.
and get on your knees. Don't test me. Just
Take it easy.
any bites. Oh. Anything sprouting.
Oh, God damn it, I'm clean!
If I see so much as a bit. Ow! Stop! Son of a bitch!
You done?
Am I done? You come into my house, you set off all my traps, you damn near break my shooting arm. Who the fuck is this punk and what's she doing here?
I am none of your goddamn business, and we're here because you owe Joel some favors. And you
Oh.
can start by taking these off.
I owe Joel some favors. Is some kind of joke?
I'll cut to the chase. I need a car.
Well, it is a joke. Joel needs a car. Well, if I had one that works, which I sure as hell don't, what makes you think I'd just give it to you? Huh? Yeah, sure, Joel, go ahead. Take my car. Take all my food, too, while you're at it.
By the looks of it, you could lose some of that food.
Listen to me, you little shit.
No, fuck you! You handcuffed me!
I need you to shut up. All right?
You can see that Bill in the game is a bit of a prickly fellow. He doesn't really trust people, and Joel even warns Ellie about this.
Man, can't believe you agreed to this bullshit, Bill. What you should have done was just left him back there.
You weren't kidding about him.
Yeah, he's one of a kind.
He's always telling Ellie not to touch his things.
What'd I say to you when we walked down the steps? What'd I say?
I'm just fixing your stupid pile.
Don't touch.
And he warns Joel that this is going to get them killed.
How in the hell is Tess okay with this suicide mission?
It's actually her idea.
Really? Well, the broad's not as smart as I thought she was.
And you get the sense that Bill lives by a certain set of principles that, while meticulous, keep him alive in this harsh world.
You gotta check the barricades again. You neglect the simple shit, and now you're paying for it. You know what that means? Taking all the supplies from the warehouse and
Okay,
plugging into the east
now he's
fence
talking to himself.
again. Then it'll take
Bill?
Joel, this way.
In this world, Bill is a survivor, and his character serves as a good foil to compare Joel and Ellie against. Bill is blunt, harsh, but pragmatic.
You keep babysitting long enough, and eventually it's gonna blow up in
Bill.
your face.
Can we please just get on with it?
Here. Let's get on with it.
And as Joel and Ellie settle into their new partnership, they're going to have to ask themselves, will they have to become like Bill in order to survive in this world? Moving forward, we start to see elements of how Joel and Ellie's relationship is being challenged. For example, the infected you come up against are starting to get harder and more numerous. And there's going to be moments where Joel and Bill are struggling to take them all on. Now, Ellie doesn't really have anything to defend herself with aside from her pocket knife, and so the question then becomes, should she have a gun to protect herself and possibly the group?
Let's gear up.
What? I need a gun?
No, you don't.
Joel, I can handle myself.
No.
Joel, as the guardian figure, is challenged with the idea of should he give Ellie a gun for protection, but also put her into the cycle of violence that risks the same outcome as his daughter Sarah. You make your way through Lincoln, house to house.
If you guys would give me a gun, I could help you kill some of these fuckers.
Shut up.
Bill thinks that there's a car battery on the military truck that crashed into the local high school when it was swarmed. And as you get to the high school, you can see remnants of what looked like an attempt to evacuate people out of the town. A little horde of infected try and get you, but you fight them off pretty good. And there's another little moment where Joel gets caught by the infected and looks like he's in trouble. And Ellie can't really save him because she's kind of unarmed. Bill steps in to save the day this time. We make our way through the high school. We snipe some infected with the bow. Oh yeah. Then we miss some infected with the bow. Oh no. We meet a big boy infected in the gym who lobs chunks of himself at you. Once we triumph, we escape out the back window with the infected close behind. You hurry into the next house and we run into a morbid little scene.
Jesus. What, you know this guy or something?
Frank.
Who the hell's Frank?
He was my partner.
See, in your adventure through Lincoln, Bill kind of briefly mentions that he had a partner named Frank, and that they went their separate ways at some point.
Look, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, I had somebody that I cared about. It was a partner. Somebody I had to look after. And in this world, that sort of shit's good for one thing. Getting you killed. So you know what I did? I wisened the fuck up. And I realized it's gotta be just me.
Bill, it ain't like that. It's
Bullshit. It is just like that.
He even tells Joel that he decided you have to look out for yourself after that happened, and he pokes at Joel saying that, Tess must be crazy making him go through this plan, not knowing that Tess is recently deceased. Well, now that we find Bill's partner is deceased, it's a moment where these two men who are surviving in this world are confronting the pain of losing a partner and the feelings of having trusted someone.
He's the only idiot that would wear a shirt like that.
My consensus was that Bill essentially takes the pain as fuel to block out the world and basically survive harder. And in fact, you search around the house that Frank is found in, you can find a note that essentially lays out how Frank got fed up with Bill's set-in-the-way attitude and wanted more from life, deciding to venture out to his own demise. If you show Bill the letter, he kind of swears it off and saying good riddance to Frank. And you see, Bill doesn't really show any remorse or guilt if he has any, but it poses an interesting question. what's more important in life? Surviving at the cost of our humanity, or trying to live with the risk of getting hurt? We find the car battery we need in the house that we find Frank, and after a brief push to get the car going and shooting some zombies, we're on our way. Bill's parting words to Joel are essentially a reminder that getting attached to Ellie will make Joel vulnerable and get him killed.
That girl nearly got us killed.
You gotta admit, she did hold her own back there.
You ain't gonna make it.
And Bill's experiences have taught him that this is the only way to survive in this world, and he accepts it with all of the morbid and heavy price it commands. Okay, that was the game. So now we're going to look at the show. Having had some time to digest episode 3, I really like how they took Bill's character and they just cracked it open as a real character study. And it's fun to see for the players of the game how Bill set up his little Madtown booby traps. He was ready for this outcome, and now he gets the benefit of continuing to live a reasonably normal life. Bill is prepared, he trusts his systems, and he lives orderly, just like in the game. And it works.
Oh.
Until the day he meets Frank. See, travelers in this world aren't guaranteed to be friendly. In fact, some of them pretend to be friendly to get you to drop your guard, so it's very rational for Bill to approach Frank in a cautious way. In fact, Bill tries to send Frank away, and he could honestly consider shooting Frank to make his problem disappear if he could stomach it, but you have to consider the headspace that Bill is in. He's been living alone, building systems, and repeating his lifestyle day over day. And over time, this must start to wear on him to some degree and make him question, what is this all for? As humans, we are social creatures, and even someone as protective as Bill must crave some human contact. So Bill decides that he should give Frank some kind of chance. I think it's really cool that the acting of the show and the writing and the cinematography is such high caliber that we can make an analysis like this, because remember, this is all made up. But here's my idea of why Bill gives Frank a chance. When two people come together to have a negotiation, there's an important level of civility that needs to be maintained. You see this in movies and in historical discussions and conversations at high levels, that there's kind of this idea that a certain level of earned trust in this negotiation needs to be established or it breaks down, and then what are we really? And so there's an invisible line that's established. It's one that can't be crossed in the negotiation. For example, you shouldn't act out, and if someone does, you should try and still remain civil. Because if we ever get to the point where we break that civility and trust, and we cross that line, then the negotiation is over, and all that's really left is violence.
You can make it by nightfall.
I'm really hungry. Haven't eaten in 2 days. Doesn't sound very long out loud, does it?
And I think you see this play out over the next few scenes really well. There's something in Bill that wants or is curious to believe that Frank is okay. Call it loneliness, call it curiosity, call it intuition. It could be any of those or all of them or more. And so they begin this negotiation.
My name's Frank.
Oh, yeah? Here's the thing, Frank. If I feed you, then every bum you talk to about it is going to show up here looking for a free lunch. And this is not an Arby's.
Well, Arby's didn't have free lunch. It was a restaurant. I won't talk about it to any bums or hobos or vagabonds, I promise. I mean, you already know I'm bad at lying.
Frank never makes a sudden move. He's always friendly, if not vulnerable. He asks and he waits, and they assess each other. And Bill agrees. And in that moment, a small piece of trust has been earned. Both parties have been genuine, vulnerable, and neither one has taken the chance to push further or provoke or betray. And that's really important here because that means with each little interaction, they are genuinely building trust. As they do so, they become a little closer and some kind of relationship is forming between them. One that they can't even probably define at that point. This dance continues as they realize that they have more in common than they expected.
A man who knows to pair a rabbit with a Beaujolais.
I know I don't seem like the type. But I think you're right. 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 I think you
And as they build trust in these little moments, they continue to reveal little pieces of themselves until, surprisingly, something much more personal comes out.
Love will abide. Take things in stride.
And it's in this moment that it opens the door for a real connection and a relationship and love between them.
That's what someone told me, but I don't know what it means.
Like, think about it. When you ask someone out, you feel like you're kind of in the same headspace. Sometimes it fails, sometimes it works wonderfully, but you have to be vulnerable and brave and put yourself out there to try and dance with somebody else, to try and see if you can make a connection and build that trust together.
Hey! Would you stop? Do I ask for things? Ever? Why am I even saying that?
And of course, like all relationships, Bill and Frank's relationship isn't perfect. They argue, they see things differently, but ultimately, it's what makes them different that ends up making each other better. Bill helps Frank protect himself from this dangerous world, and Frank helps Bill find that there's more to life than just surviving and routine. And Frank is the one that sets up the relationship with Joel and Tess, which ends up benefiting them both in the end. Now, to look at my own experiences, I took a marriage prep course once, and there was this one thing that stuck in my mind, which is, if you're having a hard time or your partner is having a hard time, remember to say, your feelings are valid, because each of us is going through something different that is unique to ourselves, and we see things differently, and we have to try and approach this with empathy and work through our problems together. And so you see this so much in Bill and Frank in the show because despite their differences, they always look past their own frustrations to see their partner and how they can work together and give a little to build trust. And what makes this episode so beautiful is because it shows us what we hope to be vulnerable and brave and risk putting ourselves out there so that we might find a better life and make something of our finite time on this planet. Bill, the character, is a survivalist. In the game, he chooses to use this for himself, and that's mostly all he is.
So you know what I did? I wisened the fuck up. And I realized it's gotta be just me.
Bill, it ain't like that. It's
Bullshit. It is just like that.
He's uncomfortable with anything but his own way.
Bill!
What are you doing?
Bill!
Let me go.
Turn around and get on your knees.
Just calm down a second.
Turn around!
All right.
In the show, he becomes something much more. He becomes Bill the husband, Bill the friend, Bill the protector. And he learns how to actually live and find happiness in this crazy world. And additionally, what makes this episode so grueling is because for all intents and purposes, in this brutal world, it's very real that this shouldn't work out. We're kind of primed that one of them is going to die, that the world is going to show you that holding out for this kind of happiness is foolish. And that's what makes it so poignant that they both make it to an old age and pass away together their way. This is one of the things that good storytelling does so well. It finds a human issue, and it puts a nail on it, and it takes a hammer and drives it through your heart at the same time. But the idea here is really, what does it mean to love someone? Is it a weakness or is it a strength? And what is the human experience if you don't try and open up to someone else? Is it better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all? These are deep questions, and it's given us some idea of how to look at them in our own world. And that's what good art does. That's my take on episode 3. Like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you next week for episode 4. Peace.